Should I try, John? Should I play the theme song, or can you actually try to recreate the theme song using the 3 chords that you know from Camp? Yeah.
2.
Sorry, the
and
2
no.
chords you know. Can't do that shit.
And then we're
My two
banning the
camp
guitar for the
chords.
rest of the. I
Oh,
was just saying I got a sunburn today. It's the most exciting thing that's happened to me.
Oh, I got a sunburn the other day too.
Like yay! Like it's just something to think about, you know. I
Yeah,
love
it's just,
it.
it's
looks
the sun's
amazing.
the only thing that's judged you in the past month.
Exactly.
This is the high tech shit I have to do now. George. John, play along with your guitar.
No, I'm so confused by what's going on here. There's so much.
I feel like I'm in purgatory.
I just made Georgie cry, and then Austin's doing this wild shit.
Wow, welcome to Slide Into My Podcast, the Sex, Love, and Dating Podcast, where we interview random people that we match with on dating apps. We discuss. That's not what we do. We discuss weird, embarrassing stuff that's happened to us and regale each other with stories about romance, sex, and everything in between. My name is Austin. With me are my co-hosts John.
Hey guys.
And Georgie.
Yeah, that is me.
Georgie, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing really well.
And our guest today, Tommy. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing really well. Just
welcome,
having a lot of fun, doing nothing every day, and drinking a lot of wine every day.
Drinking his father's expensive wine.
Yes, I am.
What do we have
Daddy's
today? What's the drink of choice today?
It is a fisheye Pinot Noir. This is actually, I got down to our not expensive wine. This is a fisheye Pinot Noir from South Australia.
Ooh.
Southeastern Australia.
Oh, because you know what Eastern Australia is known for? Their wine.
Their wine, not their bogans, not Mr. G, not Summer Heights High.
I will say, yes, Georgina?
Sorry, never mind. Continue.
Yeah.
I feel like I look like a gremlin. Oh God, sorry. Oh, I'm just a stinky little gremlin. Okay, continue. Sorry.
Is this like some like role play you're trying to do with yourself? Like some stinky little gremlin. Tommy, I am disappointed because when we were on Instagram before video chatting to try to get all the technical stuff set up, you did say that you were going to forego the glass and just drink out of the wine bottle.
Yeah. I did do that. I figured that if I'm going, I didn't realize that I was going to be recorded, so I figured that I had to save face a little bit.
Well, everyone's braver over Instagram. It's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's braver.
I think this is good.
All right. So
I did drink this bottle. This is a new bottle. I was drinking this bottle earlier out of the bottle, but now I have this bottle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's
It's
the evening. We have to be classy now.
Yeah.
It's 5
It's
o'clock.
past.
somewhere.
Yeah.
We're winding down.
We're
Yeah.
getting towards nighttime.
Getting towards nighttime. It's great. Everything's lovely.
Oh, what's your deal?
Yeah, give us
My deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just give us a little background about who you are.
I'm Tommy.
Hell yeah.
What is my deal? Oh God.
Yeah,
I am a person. I am a senior at Tufts, or was a senior at Tufts until about last month. I am currently back in Maryland, having been unceremoniously kicked out of Tufts for coronavirus-related reasons. Yeah, what is my deal? I was on the swim team at Tufts. God, I sound like a very collegiate kind of person, but I am now back. I've been watching lots of Killing Eve. I've been watching lots of TV. I don't even have an identity anymore. All of it.
Sorry. I was just thinking like these questions now are just hitting a little bit different. Like
Yeah,
everyone's.
all of our usual questions are a little. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's like, who are you? I don't know.
I'm a person who goes on my daily state-sanctioned walk once a day. I've discovered that I need to go on a walk for like 3 hours every day to avoid suicide every day.
Yeah. Okay.
And I ate a really spicy meal last night.
That's exciting.
Ooh.
Right?
He got a sunburn a couple.
And I did get a sunburn
Yeah.
a few days ago. That's
So
right.
that's also something to think about.
Yeah. And I've been skulking around on a lot of weird subreddits.
That is an identity. That is certainly an identity.
Yeah.
Have you been online quarantine dating?
Yes, I've been writing a lot of checks over Tinder that my ass cannot cash. Like I have promised to hook up with many, many people who I will never see. I have sent butt pics to many people who I have no intention of ever meeting, but I did that before the quarantine, so
Yeah, right. It's
not
Part of
really.
the course.
Consistency. There's comfort in consistency.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's important to maintain normalcy in these trying times, right?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
yeah, be consistent.
Just like how they coped with the world wars. So.
Yeah.
Send in butt pics.
Yeah.
Well,
Are you
see,
kidding me?
I have a personal policy against sending dick pics because
Yeah.
who the fuck wants to get a dick pic? Nobody. And
Hmm.
I tell myself that I do that and that I'm like a prim and proper lady. And that results in me sending very gratuitous butt pics to many people and just broadcasting. I'm like, hey, here's me. Here's my butt crack. Here's my asshole. But I didn't send you my dick, did I?
Yeah, because you're classy.
I'm a perfect gentlewoman.
Yeah, I love that.
Sips wine. Hi, it's me. I'd like to introduce you to my asshole.
Yeah, we definitely need to change our questions now, like for the quarantine.
I know.
When's the last time you touched someone?
Last time I touched somebody, the day that Tufts announced that they were canceling the rest of their semester, and I decided. Well, originally for background, I actually don't take classes anymore because I'm a second semester senior, and I was just doing internships this semester.
Okay.
And the reason I came back to Maryland, which is where I am now, is because I figured it would be a lot easier to work from home if I had more space. And I promptly was laid off from my internship. So I'm now so I'm now just kind of, like Charlotte Perkins Gilman, yellow wallpaper woman. If any English majors who listen to this podcast,
solid reference.
John's an English
John,
major.
John was an English major, so
She's in the paper.
Exactly. But I honestly just lost my train of thought. But I'm back here. And
last time you touched somebody.
Last time I touched somebody was the day. It was the day that was announced, and we were talking about the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was the very last day that I could have been touched, and I was actually texting him today. We were talking about the coronavirus, and he, like many a gay in crisis, has bleached his hair in the interim.
That's fair.
And yeah, he and I were talking about the coronavirus, and he was like, well, I'm not scared about the coronavirus. I'm on PrEP.
Wait.
I don't know. I didn't ask him if he was joking or not. I hope he was joking, but I also hope he was not.
Oh my god.
It's.
Can you imagine though if like that made you immune to the coronavirus?
That would be wild.
I mean, the gays think it makes you immune to a lot of more things than it actually does make you immune to. So
I can't get tetanus. I'm on PrEP.
Yeah. Oh, I don't need the typhoid fever shot.
I don't need to wear a seatbelt. I'm on PrEP.
Yeah. Incredible. When was the last time you cried? You don't have to answer that.
When was the last? I am not a crier. I am more of a sit despondently and stare at the wall kind of sad person.
Yeah.
Last time I cried was my ex-boyfriend and I had just broken up, and it was a very toxic relationship. I managed to find like the one person on this planet Earth who was less stable than I am. That was our relationship. And the day after we broke up, I decided that it would be hilarious. And when I say hilarious, I mean necessary to drink a bottle of wine and very, very earnestly belt out Green Light by Lorde.
Oh my goodness.
In my living room. And I finished belting out Green Light by Lorde in my living room, and I began crying. And there's a video of it circulating around my friend group somewhere. And it was... And it was very monumental. I am not a big crier.
That's a very cathartic song though. Like if you sing that song with all that's inside of you, you're gonna cry because like there's something about that song that just
a great like despondency about it.
Yeah.
despondency.
And it's about like
pride.
moving on and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like also. Not,
it really is.
Yeah, that one and I think they're from the same album, but Liability.
Yeah, they're both from Melodrama.
Yeah, that Liability, that one. I
Liability
was
is
on one of my daily walks the other day, and I started to cry because I was like, "Oh my God, nobody wants to be in my storm," and I was like, "Did you know nobody's been around you for like a month now?" Like, I don't know. That song can make me cry even if it does not fit my circumstances.
It's a very emotional song.
So what do you think the first thing you're gonna do when you get out of quarantine is?
What am I gonna do? I think the first thing I'm gonna do is just like go and like lick a public pole.
Yeah.
And like suck a dick for a solid 38 minutes. And I think I'm gonna go on Grindr and I'm going to block everybody who I foolishly said that I would go meet after quarantine was over, who I had no intention of actually meeting.
Yeah. It's a lot. That's like...
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty of it.
I don't block people on Grindr that much, honestly, but I have kind of forced my own hand.
Times are different.
Because I have a phobia of being mean. I'm sure that we can get to this. I have a great story about the time I met Cheryl Hole, who is a Drag Race UK alumna. But I have like a phobia of being mean, so I do not block people often. Okay. But I am going to have to make some extraordinary measures.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Yeah, they're like every corporation has their COVID-19 policy, and this is yours, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go to like a very crowded place and just like start like dancing.
Yeah. Up close to
like a wacky wavy arm flailing inflatable tube man.
Yes.
And then someone starts coughing and everyone fucking bounces.
Well, before the quarantine happened, I have a habit. Whenever I see people litter, my usual MO is to step on the back of their foot by accident.
Oh my God.
You have a phobia of being mean.
Also, I love the contrast.
No, yeah, I love that.
Contrast between being afraid to block people, but then you step on people's shoes.
Fucking railroad them.
Amazing.
Well, my phobia of being mean, what changes everything is if I know their name. If I don't know someone's name, I would literally stab them in the eye.
Right.
On the street.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But if I know their name, I instantly become afraid of being mean in any way, shape, or form.
Humanizing.
But what
I
started doing, like, I was walking across the MIT bridge, Boston, shout out, and I saw this guy throw a plastic bottle over this was like probably 3 days pre-lockdown. Mm-hmm. And I saw him throw a plastic bottle over the side of the bridge into the river, and I decided to go right behind him, very tiptoe, and I was like, and coughed very vigorously right next to him, just to put some uncertainty in his head.
Climate change direct action protest, right there.
I'm basically the Greenpeace movement who destroyed the Nazca lines in Peru.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, Bill McKibben.
Nice shout out.
I've been having a lot of weird sex dreams lately.
Okay.
All right, please elaborate on these weird sex dreams. Yes.
Do you think they're like quarantine?
Most of them have just. Apparently, a bunch of people are having a lot of really weird quarantine dreams, but they're not wet dreams. Okay. They are not wet dreams.
Yeah.
But
it would be okay.
Most of them have just involved like various people various lovers from my past. But one of them, it started out, I was cuddling with my now ex-boyfriend, not the one from the green light.
Okay. Another one.
A more recent one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Exactly. A more recent one. But I don't even know what happened, but he turned into, does anyone here watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I've seen it, yeah.
The actor who played Ramsay Bolton became my paramour. And he asks me this is all in dream. He asked me if I wanted to get kinky, and I was like, ooh, I don't know. Sure. And the until I wake up, the rest of the dream proceeds to be him just throwing me WWE style around the room. And like I fall down, and it's in my childhood bedroom of all places, because that's where I'm sleeping right now.
Oh
And
my god.
he just throws me like hand over hand to various corners of my room, and then I woke up. That was my weird
So
dream.
if you were doing a Freudian analysis of that dream, what would you walk away with?
I would walk away with the fact that I think that I like trampolines a lot, and the fact that I do think that that actor is really hot, even though
he plays a fucking psychopath on that show.
And he does have psychopath eyes, even when he's not in that show.
But is that like kind of hot? Is that like okay?
Him, he was typecasted.
He was typecasted.
Yeah. I think maybe you're feeling a bit out of control, a bit powerless about your situation, you know, being tossed around.
Maybe. I also think that the offshoot of the fact that I really just like, you know, roller coasters. I like just being lurched about.
Yeah. Maybe the first thing you need to do after quarantine is just find a man who will literally
throw you around.
Find like a nice Miss Trunchbull from the
tote, exactly.
Shot put me by my pigtails.
Yeah. It's like we're back, you know.
So speaking of this literally crazy image I have in my head right now, before quarantine, what were some like crazy dates or sexual experiences you had?
I worked in London last summer. I interned at an NGO there. And about a week or two after I arrived there, I had agreed to go on this date with a guy who, you know, he was a guy. And I had agreed to go on a date with him, and I had gotten home from work on Friday afternoon. And really, I was starting to feel like I don't really want to go on this date. I'm really tired. You know, I'm still a little bit jet lagged from arriving here, but you know, I figured, you know, you agreed to go on this date, you know, you should go. So I meet the guy. First of all, he agrees to meet me at this bar. He is a Londoner.
Excuse me, mind you, I am a New arrival. He agrees to meet me at this bar, which is exactly in the West End,
which is like the most tourist jammed area of London. And I'm here thinking, like, I have been here for less than a week, and I know not to do that. And so I was wary on that when he told me where the bar was. But I just, you know, I didn't want to be, that's stuck in my head. I didn't want to be a, you know, negative Nelly. So I went to this bar with him. And I get to this bar, he goes, and the first thing after, you know, we had made our pleasantries and gotten into the bar and ordered our first drinks, he goes, Beyonce or Britney? And I'm like, did you just like pick this out of a card of gay talking points? Like, do you have a deck be like Beyonce or Britney? Trans rights, reclamation of the word fag. Like, so I was like, I don't know. I think they're different. Like, why are we pitting them against each other?
Oranges.
But you know, we had continued our stilted conversations, and he then tells me, after it becomes clear that the bar we're at is pretty dead, you know, there's not much going on, he says to me that we should go to a different bar that he knows the owner of, and that is pretty fun. And so we got to this bar. First of all, I don't know why it did, but this bar smelled really, really, really good. It smelled like Christmas trees and thyme and a little bit of like almost grapefruit. It was
some good ass candles in there.
Wow. It really stuck with you. Also, I kind of think that like every place in Harry Potter smells like that.
Yes.
It was very British, very good smelling. But in this bar actually was more fun. There was a very big dance floor. There was great live music upstairs. There was a great DJ downstairs. But we went downstairs to where the DJ was, and he turns to me, goes into his pockets, and pulls out earplugs. And he's like, yeah, you know, you really don't want your ears to be ringing in the next morning. And I'm just looking at him being like, I really actually want to kill you. Like, I think that you're the worst person I've met in the last 48 years. And but again, I have a phobia of being mean to people. So I just was going along with it. He has these earplugs in his ears. he is dancing. I'm just cringing at whatever he's doing. But it does not occur to me to just ditch him. And we left that bar after he came to talking to the owners of the bar, who he did legitimately know. He was not lying about
That's
that.
good.
Okay.
And then
that's good.
From
He's
there,
weird, but he's not a liar.
He's not a liar. We were in Soho, so we went to a very famous gay bar in London called GAY. If any of you guys have heard of it. And we were in GAY, and I probably was not doing a very good job of telegraphing with my movements that I was not into him, because he started getting very handsy and very grabby at that point. And I was just trying to, I'm going to show you guys that I was just trying to
for viewers at home,
dance away.
Yeah, he's moving away.
Yeah.
I was dancing away.
They'll see it.
And for viewers that want to see that, they can pay a monthly subscription. They can pay a monthly fee to be able to see Tommy dance.
On Patreon.
Check out our OnlyFans.
Yeah, we have an OnlyFans account. It's just Tommy dancing.
Yeah. So
you're trying to move away, yeah.
I'm trying to move away, and I had a few cocktails at this point, and he says, "Hey, why don't we go back to my place and get a few drinks before we head back out?" And I could never in a million years explain to you why I agreed to go back to his place with him, thinking that we were going to go out. And so I get back to his place with him. He tries to play show tunes.
Ooh, nice.
Show tunes. Theater gays. The theater gays, full offense, don't deserve rights. And I'm listening to the Book of Mormon, the Turn It Off song from the Book of Mormon, which when someone else who wasn't him played it to me, I actually did enjoy.
Right.
But so I'm in his apartment. Somehow, like after 15 minutes I had been there, it became clear to me that he had no intention of leaving the apartment. He was making very bedroomy gestures, and his body language was tilted towards his bedroom.
Right.
And I do not know what. And the next in a series of decisions that I will never understand why I make, I decided in my slightly drunk, maybe more than slightly head, making out with him would buy me some time. So I started making out with him. And after I did that, it became clear that he thought that I also wanted to go back into his bedroom, which I had absolutely no intention of doing. And so I quickly tried to shrink away and said that I had to pee. And I called my friend who was back in New York, and I asked her if she could call me with a fake emergency. And so I did that. She called me fake crying and said, I'm talking to my ex-boyfriend, and I don't know what was going on. I don't really know what will be happening right now. And while I was on this call, he goes into the bathroom, and I started walking over. And the next thing I knew, I was haphazardly throwing my shoes on and opening the door, sprinting out of his apartment. I sprinted out of his apartment, which was on the Strand in central London. And as I got out the door, I tripped and fell. And my elbow was bleeding profusely. And I got back up. My shoes were not fully on, and I started running. And I came to this alley, and I ducked into the alley because he had come after me a little bit.
Oh, no.
I went into this alley, which was behind a restaurant, and I was ducking behind a dumpster, and I looked up, and there was a waitress named Christina. She was from Romania, who was smoking a cigarette back there. And she looks down at me and she goes, "You need a cigarette." And so she handed me a cigarette, and I smoked a cigarette with her. And
I just love how you hate confrontation so much that you sprinted out of an apartment and hid behind a dumpster.
Yeah. And then smoked a cigarette with a Romanian
who's
waitress
bleeding.
named Christina.
Like
also,
you
she
were
sounds like she was
bleeding.
awesome.
Also, yeah, and you were bleeding, but also you remember the waitress's name, but not his name, because she was like that much. Because you're like, that's a positive memory with her.
she is the mother I've never had, the sister everyone deserves, the friend everyone wants, as Oprah wants.
The Oprah Winfrey.
She is the mother I've never had.
Show-stopping, incredible,
talented, brilliant.
Talent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've not been on a date as bad as that since then. I've been on boring dates. I've been on successful dates. I've been on dates with assholes who I still have had sex with, but I have not had a worse date since that.
It
But I'm
sounds
not
like
sure.
you literally
It's a hard
went to
one.
fight or flight, and you
Yeah.
I
picked
did.
flight.
I like before I knew what was going on, I was running.
Like something about that man put you like into like an instinctual, like evolutionary based
Yeah,
mode.
like
Yeah.
it was like he was a woolly mammoth, and I was going back to when I was a caveman in Siberia.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
it was quite an experience.
That's also
Less than a year
that's
ago. It's
yeah.
crazy that was less than a year ago.
Did you tell Christina what happened?
I probably gave her some details.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave her the whole story, but she's our best ally.
Yeah.
Some may say that she threw a brick at Stonewall. Yeah, no, she's definitely on the wall. Oh shit, you guys don't know the wall.
What's the wall? You don't.
Oh no, I will tell you guys. So my friends and I, my housemates from last year, one day as I told you earlier, I was on the swim team at Tufts, and
we get it. You were on the swim team.
At Tufts. Yeah,
Sorry.
swim team at Tufts was a very uncharacteristically queer-friendly place in collegiate sports.
That's amazing.
So me and a few of my teammates and some of them who were my housemates at the time were talking about who we decided that the biggest gay icon on our team was. And the criteria we came up with for being a gay icon was that you had to be an unreliable narrator and you had to be a messy bitch who lives for drama.
That's amazing.
And so around the same time, my housemates and I were on a little bit of a addiction to Mario Kart where we would play Mario Kart every single day. And so I'm not sure that you guys know this, but Waluigi is canonically gay.
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah.
No.
Wait, really?
No, I did know that.
Waluigi is gay.
I knew that like the female
spent a lot of
Yoshi
time
was
on
like
Twitter.
canonically the first trans Mario character. I did not know about Waluigi though. Holy shit.
So it was last fall. It was the fall of my junior year. So it was at the same time that the conversation around who was the biggest gay icon on the team and our Mario Kart addiction, they were both happening simultaneously. And when we would play Mario Kart, we always, all four of my housemates, we would all choose the same character, the same car. And I was always Waluigi because the first time we played, I was like, Waluigi's gay. I got to be Waluigi.
Right.
And we would develop little tics that we would say in our characters when we were playing Mario Kart. So when I, as Waluigi, would pass one of my housemates, I would not say that Waluigi just passed you. I would be like, the gay community just passed you. To be referred to as the gay community. And I would always go on the Flame Flyer motorcycle because I would say every time I selected it, Waluigi goes on the Flame Flyer because he's a flaming homosexual. And so these two things were happening at the same time. Right. And then one day we had my housemate is from New England and is a huge Patriots fan. So we had a bunch of people over to watch Sunday Night Football, which I didn't give a shit about, but I sat in the living room because I'm an extrovert and I crave attention. And we were talking about our Mario Kart playing and the biggest gay icon on our team at the same time. And what was happening. And somehow the gays in the room overruled the straights in the room. And we decided to talk about, okay, we decided that Carly Rae Jepsen threw the first brick at Stonewall, Waluigi threw the second Stonewall. And we decided to come up with a list of people who we decided were gay icons who threw a brick at Stonewall. And then we got a whiteboard and we got a bunch of pictures of construction paper and we went down through the list that is comprised of people who threw a brick at Stonewall. So we started with, some issues like, Waluigi, not Ellen DeGeneres. She called the cops at Stonewall. Waluigi, Christy Carlson Romano, who played Kim Possible and Ren Stevens.
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette, Lady Gaga, Marsha P. Johnson, of course, a lot of other people. A Birkin bag, Malaysia Flight 370. The Last Empress of China, Qi Shi. Whitney Houston, frowny face, and
rest in peace.
But ever since then, that list has been growing, and it's currently, ever since I've moved out of that apartment, there are now probably over 300 entries on the, and the most recent addition was Kate Winslet, because we somehow forgot to add her after all these years. Like, the state of Wyoming is on the list, and
that's incredible.
So there's just like a long list of gay icons that are currently stuck to my fridge back in Boston. And I think that as a tie back in, I think that Christina, the waitress from, I don't remember what the restaurant was called, who gave me a cigarette on that night of my terrible date, I think she should be added.
Yeah,
she should definitely be added.
I think so too. I just want to say thank you. That story just made me feel so enlightened, and thank you for enlightening our listeners. That just made me feel the most at peace I felt in weeks. So thank you.
Did you both throw a brick?
What? Sorry, you broke up.
Christy Carlson Romano threw a brick.
Yes. Even Stevens. It all adds up when you think about it.
She's so hot. Like, you know who else is really hot? AOC. She's so hot.
Yeah, she's very hot. But also, who else is?
Oh, she threw a brick.
AOC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't
There
heard
was
that either.
somebody else I was thinking of from that Disney Channel era who I was like, I would be a little girl and I'd be like, wow.
Beans.
Is
Beans,
yeah.
We're gonna do an
OnlyFans. We're gonna do an OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're gonna do our OnlyFans break. So yeah, charge
that. Yeah, Tommy, you don't want to be here.
Kidding. Can we start budgeting kind of our Patreon money to pay for Caroline Calloway's OnlyFans?
Who's Caroline Calloway?
Oh, I could do an entire episode about who Caroline Calloway is. I could literally do.
Who is she? She's an Instagram personality?
Yes.
I would never want to see her OnlyFans though. I don't like that. I wouldn't pay for that.
It's $50 a month.
That's very expensive.
I know. I just realized that my parents are probably listening to this whole. We just go on and on about.
So Austin, we just want to take some time to thank our Patreon subscribers, and I guess if you're wondering what is a Patreon, well, Austin, what is Patreon for those who...
So for the uninitiated, Patreon is a website where you can support independent creators and artists and anybody like that. And you basically pay a monthly fee. You pay a monthly subscription almost, right? For us, the minimum is $2. And with that, you get access to like exclusive content. Like for us, you get access to video episodes, to bonus episodes that we create from unused content from past episodes. We put them together as a bonus episode. And there are higher tiers of support. They go all the way from $2 to $10, and there's a couple tiers in between. And you get stuff with that, right? And why we need that money is that this isn't free to do, and it actually takes a little bit of money to do. So you help us be able to keep doing this every week, and without your support, we really couldn't do this. And we appreciate you guys so much for the people that already support us. So we want to thank people like who, guys? Who do we want to thank?
Monica.
I want to thank
and Milo.
Monica and Milo.
Monica and Milo.
Alex. Ames. They're Austin.
Annie. No, you skipped a name.
I didn't get it in time. I'm just going from memory.
Oh, you Alex, Ames, Annie, Austin, Garrett, Janice, John, Kara, Monica, Nicole, Paul,
60617,
Tracy.
Thank you all so much. Oh, we should talk about one of our patrons, because last time we spoke about we've talked about Kara before. We've talked about Monica. We've talked about Alex. We have
617.
We can talk about 60617. 6617.
Extraordinaire.
TikTok extraordinaire.
TikTok sensation. TikTok bombshell.
Really, the TikTok equivalent of a regional celebrity. Really proud of everything you've done, and big fans of you here.
His account is like a lucid fever dream.
It is.
which it really
In
is.
the
Like his
best way
videos,
possible.
like his videos are great. He's a really nice dude. He actually went to Berkeley for a bit, and he was doing opera singing there. So he's
Yes,
actually
he's
a really talented singer. So if you
Extremely
want
talented
if you
opera
watch one of his
singer.
live streams, and you can like request him to sing a song, and he'll play it on his ukulele and sing it, and he's actually really good.
He's a
It's like
wonderful
very
singer.
surprising. Check him out on TikTok and YouTube. Stixie617. Yes. So thank you so much for supporting us. We love you so much. All right.
like
Should we get back to the episode and get back to Tommy? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. John, it's
I had
the yes. Or she has a question. Go
No,
for it.
I forgot it.
Okay. All right.
It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Will it?
Tommy.
Yeah, well.
So I'll wait for you.
John, don't ask this one yet. Those are the last two. Don't ask.
So let's see. Oh, when was your sexual debut?
Yeah, when was your sexual debut?
Like when I lost my virginity.
Like we ask it that way because for some people, because we would say that, and we found that like with some people they were like either they had like a traumatic like they lost their virginity story, or it was more like they lost their virginity, but they felt like when they really found their like stride as like a sexual being, that was their sexual debut. So like for some people it's like, oh yeah, so like it just depends. We tried to phrase it differently.
I gotcha. Yeah, I lost my virginity. I was 15. It was just like this guy I knew, sex. I would not say that I made my sexual debut until I was probably like 17 or 18, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Many a hookup in the trunk of my 2008 Ford Edge. And
did you ever get edged in your edge? Sorry.
Yeah, I did never get edged in my edge. I did get blown and blow and get fucked and fuck in my edge, but I did not get edged in my edge.
Mhm.
But
Wait,
I
also,
not have
did
my
you
edge when I
grow
was
up?
15.
Oh, in Maryland. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Maryland, so
Yeah.
I was skulking around the DMV, as they call
The
it.
DMV, the 703. My parents live in Alexandria.
I never go to Virginia, but
do you have any stories? Sorry, this is so random, but do you have any stories from DC? Because when I lived there, it just seemed like there were so many gay men there.
See, my DC gay stories are all the fact that I just in general have hooked up with a lot of people who are not from the U.S. Like
rock on.
You're a cultural ambassador.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I have not hooked up with a lot of people who are from the U.S., but I definitely.
But he's not ethnocentric, and that's what matters.
I'm not. I definitely like to take advantage of the fact that there is a very large international contingent in DC. Like my parade of nations that have come up my butthole has been very diverse and very
the entire UN
and very
episode title Parade of Nations,
from continent to continent. But I can't think of any good DC story. I got my ID taken at
a world map
Town
and put
Dance
like
Boutique,
pins.
if you remember that.
I like what I did. Like, even though John was interrupting you, I did like what he said, which was that you should get like one of those travel maps and put it in your wall, but instead of where you've traveled, it's where people you've had sex with are from. So you can like
or
put
like
a little pin on the map. Yeah, like a globe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you're so cultured. And you're like, yes, I am cultured.
Yeah. And people are like, oh my God, you've traveled so much.
All right, Tommy.
Let him choose granola or whatever.
So, Tommy.
Yes.
What's your definition of love?
Do you know who Caroline? Okay.
I do know who Caroline Calloway.
I remembered my question that I had for when you came back. Right.
I do know who
that
Caroline
moment.
Calloway is.
Okay, I'm
What's
so
your question?
sorry. I
Is she your definition
ruined
of
that
love?
question.
She
I
was that
ruined
woman
it.
who wrote that. What is my definition of love? My definition of love, I would say. My definition of love is when I come to someone and they tell me in very excruciating detail who Caroline Calloway is. What is my definition of love? I think you love someone when any change happens, how that change affects that person comes to your mind immediately. That seems to me what the definition of love is. Like if there's a change, if, for example, coronavirus happens what that person is doing, what that person is feeling, how that person is coping. I think that is what the definition of love between another person is. I think that love in very general is something, I think that love is something you can come home to. Like, it engenders a feeling of home in you, whether that's good, bad, whether that's towards a person, a place. I think that love between any person and a place, between a person and a thing, between a person and an idea, it's something that you can come home to.
Wow.
Like something that feels like, even if it's something new to you, it feels like you're coming home to it.
I don't know if it's because we're in quarantine, but that just made me emotional.
No, it was no.
Probably because we're in quarantine.
But I also liked what you said about like when something changes or something happens, they're the first person you think about. Because I think that's true for all types of love also. Because I don't know when this all started to change.
Well, because I think that love
in
so many ways can be toxic. It can be very fulfilling. It can be very, therapeutic. It can be all encompassing. But I think that, I'm thinking about, for example, something that comes to mind is like the relationship between like Jaime and Cersei in Game of Thrones. That's so clearly love, but it's so toxic and it's so dysfunctional, but it's still love. I think that coming home to something is like love. It's something that creates a home for you mentally and physically and emotionally. And I think that when you can come home to something, that's what love feels like. Because I think love is something that creates home in your mind.
I like that a lot.
I like that a lot too. That's nice.
No two people
said
I've
I needed
ever
wine
had
to sharpen my wit.
All right, so before Georgina,
no two people have ever had the same answer.
definition. Yeah, that's true. Nobody has.
Beautiful.
Before Georgina asks this last question, do you have any other stories you'd like to regale us with? Any embarrassing things you've said or done on dates or anything like that before we do our send off question?
There's many times I've made many a bad joke. I have accidentally offended I was on a date with a Polish guy once, and I accidentally offended him with a Stalin joke that he did not find funny.
Oh no.
But no, I can't really think of anything too egregious that I haven't said yet.
All right, cool. So Georgie, you want to hit him with that?
We covered a lot of bases. Yeah.
Oh, does he?
I was once, my freshman year of college, I was walked in on in the mid process of eating a pizza off of someone's butt cheek.
Can you explain how you got to that? You can't just drop that and say, how did that happen?
So my freshman year roommate and I did not get along very well.
Okay. This is a great start.
Yes.
I already like where this is
going. He was on my swim team with me. He quit the swim team after 1 year. But so we had agreed to be roommates. And then once we actually met each other, because we had just been texting back and forth, we were like, oh, we like a lot of the same things, blah, 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 blah. And then I met him and I was like, ooh, you're really quiet. And I'm really not quiet.
Yeah.
Like after like a month, it became clear that our situation was not working out, but we were roommates and we were on the same swim team together.
Yeah.
But this was probably around Halloween time. And I was at this frat party that I knew that a lot of my friends who were on the swim team were at. And I met this guy and we were making out in the basement and it was still pretty early. It was probably around 10 p.m. We were like, ooh, why don't we go back to our room? So we went back to my room and, we were hooking up there. And I figured that my roommate, definitely not my friend, would still be at that party because, those parties tended to go pretty late. So we were hooking up and we were having sex for a while. And eventually we had both been drinking, so we were both pretty drunk and we both were like kind of like, ugh, this is tiring.
Yeah.
Let's just go to bed. And then he said, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And I was like, well, I'm kind of hungry too. We're both drunk. We haven't eaten in a while.
Yeah.
So we ordered a Domino's pizza.
Of course.
And we were
knew what kind it was.
I think we were probably watching. Exactly.
Yeah.
We were probably watching some kind of television show or comedy Netflix special. But eventually the pizza got there and we were eating the pizza, and he turns to me and he goes, it would be really hot. And I was
A hot slice
what? And I
of
was
pizza
like,
on my ass. Sorry.
I was like, you eat this pizza off of my body. And I was like, I'm drunk. That sounds so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So I laid out on my twin extra long bed and I put pizza slices on both of my nipples.
Uh-huh.
And I had him eat up to the crust on both of my nipples.
Wow.
And it was hot. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm into this. And so I was like, you turn over. So I put a pizza slice on his left butt cheek. And I was eating the pizza. I ate up to the first pepperoni, up his butt cheek. Right before I was chomping down on the second little row of pepperoni, because Domino's has that shit down to a science.
Right. Yeah.
And I was chomping down and I hear my big fireproof door jingling, and I look up and then bursts into the door. Who else bursts in the door but my roommate George? And I looked up at him, me naked, eating a pizza off of a naked butt cheek of another man, and I was like, a second. And he was like, and slams the door. And then he moved out after the first semester.
Wow.
Hey.
So you know what?
And
a win-win in the end for you.
Yeah. All right, Georgie, you want to ask that final question?
Yeah, sure. So this goes really well with our final question, actually.
John's also like going super emo MySpace right now. All of his lights are off. It's like because the sun is set. He's like, oh, look at it. There we go.
Oh,
Real light.
nice lamp.
He's back.
Look
all right,
at
Georgina, last question.
So you know the game Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Fuck, Marry, Kill. Yes, I do.
Yeah. Okay, so Fuck, Marry, Kill with the three of us. For some reason, delivering that over Skype feels more weird. Feels weird. Feels sort of like omegally, you know what I mean?
It feels omegally. Yeah, it does a little bit.
I'm gay, so
yeah. Kill me. It's okay.
Like,
you can honestly murder me dead.
But
I would appreciate it. Okay. I'm also open to marriage, so.
Fuck Austin, marry Georgi, kill John.
Can you say?
That was so
Fuck
quick.
Austin, marry Georgi, kill John.
Okay.
I need to make sure that if I ever need to produce an heir.
Okay,
that's
fair.
to make sure your property gets
protect the
handed down to
bloodline.
your eldest son.
Exactly.
Primogeniture. Yeah.
I've always been a big into heraldry.
Okay.
I do have my family crest that's framed in my childhood bedroom. So.
Okay.
There you go. Okay, so John's frozen. Georgie, should I just sign us off without John?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't
Well,
know.
Tommy, thank you for coming on the podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And for everybody out there that's listening, thank you so much for listening. If you don't want to donate to our Patreon, the best thing you can do is to tell a friend about us and leave us a review on iTunes and the Apple Podcast.
You threw a brick.
You hear that, folks?
Yeah,
How can you turn that one down?
You can't turn it down. You'll become a gay icon. If you donate. But yes, thank you so much for listening. Georgie, do you have any words for our listeners?
Be kind to yourselves and others around you today, particularly the people that you're quarantined with. But be compassionate with yourself because we're all in a tough situation right now. And respect your own boundaries and other people's boundaries. Wow,
yes,
that has gotten so much longer.
It really has. The COVID has made it longer. And I'll do John's sign off, which is what is it? Call your maternal figure. See how they're doing if you're not already quarantined with them at home.
Yeah. Or you could. I mean, switch things up.
Yeah.
Go in a different room and just call them. That'd be a nice surprise, you know?
Yeah, I hope John's computer just didn't shut down and he lost everything, but we'll see.
Yeah.